Oh no, who's calling me? This guy is calling me again.
Oh, well, hi.
Hi.
Happy Friday.
Friday, and we are beginning the day how we ended it yesterday. So
Stop
I
it.
have people calling me on my phone, and Frankie's having mouse problems, and
No, we're good. We're good. But if in case we didn't know what day it was today, I don't know if this isn't here, but if any of our fans are from the Cleveland area, this was shared with me this morning, and I love this.
very funny.
Now for the most important question of the morning.
Yep, what day is it with Todd Meany?
It's Friday.
I think
We
that's
may
great.
have to start that.
We might.
I think we may have to do that.
I think it's great.
It's funny. It's
Now for the most important question of the morning.
and there it is again.
With Todd Meany.
Because it's Friday.
It's Friday.
Oh, I didn't even see that before. I didn't see the little.
If anything is going to get us through the day, is certainly laughter.
Laughter. Exactly. Yes, that was funny.
Welcome to Live from Rabs, from inside Rabs Country Lanes. It is day, Naz, what day of the quarantine?
It is 32, day 32.
We think.
We think we're counting right.
And this is episode 27. We were just saying, and you guys laugh when we say this, and we get some great text messages and messages from you, and we really appreciate it. We're doing this for the reasons to stay in touch, and so that you're in front of our face, and it's been greatly received, and we appreciate that.
Yes, we do.
But what we were just saying.
I was just telling Frankie that over the last few days that I've gotten text from people, thanking us for doing it, and it gives them something to look forward in the day, and it gives them a little laugh in the middle of the day. And, it's something that we started just to, this is basically how we are in our office all day. But like Frankie said, we're now just doing it in front of you. But
so maybe we have to move into the office and make them feel like that they're part of the inner sanctum.
There's a whole different dynamic in the office.
This is exactly what does happen. So welcome to the office.
Welcome to the office.
This morning started off a little rough. I got a text. Naz texted me. We're going back our usual day. And Naz said, hey, I don't know what you're in for today. So Naz might be what I was the other day.
No, I wasn't.
Okay?
We're diffusing today some doTERRA balance, and as I don't even know what kind of words to use. There's some anxiety that is kind of starting to reveal itself here, but you just have to take some deep breaths. And
so it's not just me.
It's not just you.
Right.
I'm not going to rant. There's no need in doing that.
We're good.
We're just going to get through the day.
We're
going to get through.
Every day. We're going to get through every day.
Yeah.
And Brian is asking how Ray is, and Ray is right here. Director Ray hasn't missed a show. He is doing A-OK. Hey, Ray, wave to everybody while they're asking about you.
Here I am.
He is A-OK. Thanks for asking, Brian. We certainly appreciate that. And, for those who were watching yesterday, you realize that we abruptly ended the show, and it might be Thursdays. 2 Thursdays in a row.
Yes.
We had technical difficulties. Now, last week was not our fault. Yesterday was my fault.
Today was your
Last
big
week,
of you to stand up and take the shots for that.
I own my mistakes. Not always very easily, but I own them. And So I told the story that I was on a Zoom call. I had a beverage. I was on 2 Zoom calls and I knocked over the beverage on my computer and it was fine up until yesterday when it sat here and overheated because it was running for an hour and a half. And the sugar, I'm assuming, I don't know. Well, P.S., it's fried. I'm assuming the liquor got to the motherboard. And so thank you to Christine D. Hart. She had a laptop in a box that she was for her office that she's not really working in right now. So we're on a loaner until my computer gets fixed and replaced, which isn't easy because they can't just go to the Apple store.
Yeah. And you're a little spoiled, I have to say, that you did share with me that you feel kind of lost without your.
Oh no! So our Rotary Club does a Zoom call. Since we can't meet in person, we're doing Zooms every week, and it's great. However, running a Zoom call with 20 people is not easy from the phone. Like when you're participating, it's not so bad. You use speaker view and you can swipe. But when you're trying to pay attention, if somebody's got their hand up,
Right?
Because there are tools to use, but we don't use them. You know, the raised hand and the emotions. It's not easy. So trying to figure it out. I was using my iPad. My iPad wasn't charging. I had a rough night last night getting it all done. I had 2 Zoom. I made it work. It was great. We had a great time. It's nice to see everybody embracing the technology, including 92-year-old Herbie Applebaum was on Zoom with us last night.
Oh,
like, come on. How cool is him?
That's
and Bunny?
cool.
Bunny got him on. You know, his wife's just about the same age, which it's awesome. So I love that we can use this medium to stay in touch. The club is always is trying to step up and help people, which is the first thing Rotarians want to do in nature.
Absolutely.
So it's great to be able to connect. We had visiting Rotarians come on our call, which is cool.
Nice.
Janet
really
was
nice.
Janet from another club. We had a friend from Scotland we talked about who's been watching us. So it's cool. Anyway, I'm a little bit better today. I did sleep better.
Good.
This is helping.
That's good. I see. I told you it does help.
I might need this in the car.
They actually just came out with one that you put in your car. Linda has not checked in yet, but Linda, we're going to have to order up a couple of these because I'm going to put one in my car too.
Yeah, I'm very sensitive when it comes to that stuff.
I know because that's why doing the essential oils and not
might be better.
Candle or anything that anything else that gives off that scent is a little more sensitive.
I'm trying to keep up with waving to people, and thank you for checking in. I see Fernan is asking how we're doing, and we're doing great. So far, so good. Fortunately, we're all healthy. We're just we're practicing our social distancing. We're trying to get through the day, one day at a time, but we're hanging in there.
And Dennis Constantino was asking who's bowling. No one is bowling, but they are working on the machines today. Yeah. So we have a little background noise.
So of course, Stan is asking where Jimmy is. Stan, Jimmy is making the noise. Jimmy's making the noise. I don't even. What are they on? Oh, 21 and 22 today.
So I just wanted to bring up that yesterday we started our conversation about the junior gold being canceled. And, we did have guests that we wanted to get to right away. So we did say we were going to come back to it. And I think when we talked to Michael Martell, who was with us today, maybe we'll speak to him. Maybe we'll speak to him a little bit about that. I'm sure he can give us some insight.
I don't want to get Michael wound up. That's the last thing we want is Michael wound up.
Why is he going to get wound up about this?
No. I think he'll be fine.
He'll be fine.
He's
going to be the voice of reason.
He usually is. I have to say. So today we've got a great show. So Michael Martell is with us today, and then we're going to end this show. So we're going to be so excited. We're talking with Michael and talking about bowling, and of course his career and where he's been and. We could talk for hours about Michael and with Michael, but then we're going to talk about technology. So we're going to totally bring the happiness down, I think, or totally, or not the happiness, but the tech side of it is important. So we have our IT specialist, Pat Buono, with us today, who's been very helpful for us the last couple of weeks. And he's got some tips that we should be sharing for business and home. And of course, he's a fellow bowler. So we'll check in with him. But you know what? Michael's waiting for us, and I want to bring Michael in. Michael's here, I think, somewhere. Here's Michael. If I know how to use this. So not only do we have a new laptop, I am now using a new mouse and keyboard, and I'm still figuring this out. But hi, Michael.
Hello, guys. How are you?
Yay! All right, we got it. One, it's nice to see your smiling face. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm hanging in there. I first appreciate you guys asking me to be on. This was really cool to get the text from you yesterday asking me, so thank you.
No,
But I'm
thank
doing
you.
all right. I'm hanging in there.
So you're not here at home. You're not in Brooklyn. You are back at school. Tell us about where you are and what you're doing.
Right now I'm currently in Chicago, and I am playing lots of video games to keep myself sane. I haven't thrown a ball since March 10th when my World Series of bowling ended, and so it's been pretty crazy. I'm sitting here playing video games, wishing I could throw a bowling ball, and other than that, there's really not much to do. So,
What's the go-to game right now?
MLB The Show, 100%. As much as that game drives me insane when I can't hit the ball, I continue to play it day in, day out. So,
It's funny, of all these things, I haven't dove into video games. It's the one thing that I haven't done while I've been watching way too much TV, drinking, doing this stuff. I don't really know.
We'll do it together.
Oh, right, we're in. And I even tried to get my hand on a Nintendo Switch, and that's not happening.
impossible. You can't find them.
And I felt bad because my nephew offered, "Hey, let's play together." And I'm like, no, normally it'd be great. That's not going to happen. So, Michael, you have had, I would say, the last couple of years, you really you've had a great career in the last couple of years, which is only growing. So, but I want to go back first. So, Michael, hometown boy from Brooklyn, he's been bowled in our center, grew up in Maple Lanes, and Nazareth could say the same thing. We've loved watching you grow up and be where you are today. However, I do, and I was going to ask Mom for a video or a photo, but I didn't. And hello to Nicole. I love you,
He's
Nicole.
definitely watching, so she hears you.
The biggest Mom. She's got two great kids, and she's the biggest fan.
Absolutely.
And if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't have youth bowling in the city, along with what we do, and we appreciate that. And I know you do too. But you watching you grow up and bowl. There was this little kid. Bowling with an unorthodox, two hands off the wrong foot. So I want to go back. I want you to talk. I want you to reflect, because your mother and I had this conversation a few weeks ago when Anthony was bowling in the team tournament, and we were laughing and talking about exactly that and where you are today. And I just want to hear it from you. So reflect a little bit about what you might have thought, where you were, and what does that mean to you?
So the easiest way to put it is where I am now is something that, obviously I dreamt of when I was a kid, but it didn't hit me that it was actually happening until the last couple of months. And to watch where my game started, I haven't seen any videos. We have them in a storage locker on tape somewhere. I haven't really watched any videos from when I was two-handed, but I know that it was funky to watch. It was definitely not the orthodox way, considering I threw it overhand. Just wasn't right. It wasn't right to watch. But I truly believe that if I stayed with that, I never would have gotten to where I am. The journey I've been on the last 5.5 years since I started college bowling, and it's been incredible. I still can't believe that I'm doing it. You got to take your lumps sometimes. Bowling the tour, it's tough, but it's definitely a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it. So.
Well, and I remember watching this little boy bowl, but it wasn't just because you started that way because you couldn't hold the ball.
Right.
Michael's was a little kid. He's worked on that. He's been working out, and which is great. But he was this little, and he couldn't really. And I think that's the misconception with two-handed bowling sometimes, right, where some kids want to do it because they aspire, because they see
and
Jason
then
Belmonte.
It's just physical.
It's physical, and for Michael, it was physical. So if you don't no regret on changing the way you. No,
absolutely not. I would have liked to see how it turned out with me staying two-handed, but I don't regret switching to one hand at all. It's helped me develop my game a long ways.
So, we've seen a lot of junior bowlers come through our program, and there definitely is something different about some. There's poise, there's the patience to have to put the work in. So, and I think honestly, those are two things that set you above a lot of other competitors. So, what advice can you give other youth bowlers who to help them develop those? I don't want to call them untangibles, but they're not necessarily a physical part of the game. So, I think it makes it harder for them to work on. Being poised, knowing how to take losses. Um, just that whole other part of the game. What
Uh,
advice?
okay, so to be honest, Frankie knows me. You guys both know me since before I was 10 years old. I didn't always have those qualities.
Right?
Really didn't.
We know.
All those fun days sitting in the corner crying about how poorly I bowled or saying I should have won or this or that, like those are honestly the most important moments. It's not about really it's not about building, it's about being patient. The more patient you become, yeah, every athlete in every sport has to take their lumps. You're going to lose more than you win. It's not possible to win more than you lose. The best bowler of all time, arguably, Walter Ray, has won less than 8% of the tournaments he competed in. So I think that there's always going to be places to grow, but patience is the most important thing. I've gotten my teeth kicked in for the last 9 months bowling the national tour, and I've only had basically 2 or 3 solid events. And you know what? I'm enjoying it. I'm learning what I'm doing wrong, and so honestly, there's something that could be said for the parents at a young age more than the athlete. I think it's make sure your kid stays involved, make sure they keep at it, keep, as people would say, keep punching the bag. Uh, the parents have more, I think, of an obligation than the kids at a young age. I think as the kids start to grow up, then it becomes more on them to see if they really want to stay after it. But I know if it wasn't for my mom, I would not have competed past 13 or 14 years old, honestly. She kept pushing me and kept telling me, you're close, keep doing it. So if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have even reached the junior gold level that I heard you guys talking about before. So it's funny that I can kind of relate this to my brother. I'm watching him go through this transition right now. Yep. And he's a little hard-headed, reminds me of myself. And it's interesting trying to help him because he resembles a lot of what I went through before I made that leap into wanting to do it. He's still on the teetering side where he doesn't really want to practice all the time, but when he does, he's lights out. So like I'm trying to instill those qualities in him because he's at that age, but it's still something that becomes on the obligation of the bowler. When it comes to physical aspect, it's not really that important. Everybody's game is different. Just own what you own. Be your own individual bowler. Don't try and model yourself after anyone. Just do what you do, and if you work hard enough at your craft, eventually what you do will be good enough. That's what I'm trying to teach Anthony. His game is a little different than a lot of people, but he's gotten pretty far. He's doing really well. He made that show a couple years ago at Junior Gold.
Yep.
He missed last year's match play cut by a pin. But he's won a bunch of tournaments in the local area. He's averaging over 220 now, which is insane for a 16-year-old. So he's doing his thing. So yeah, I guess at a young age, it's more of the parent aspect where they have to take a little bit more responsibility and initiative to push the child to stay in it and stay patient and just let themselves develop. And then when they get to a teenage level, it's all on the bowler.
So, Michael, I love hearing you talk like that because that's just a different. You really have, and I say this all the time and I say that to you. I remind your mother, and I've said it to you. Yeah. You really have grown into, this isn't for your ego, but it's the truth. You've grown you've blossomed into a great young man, and I want to know So talk about Anthony, and Anthony's another one. He's making his. You know what? He's learning his own and making his way, and he's ups and downs and very emotional. You've been there along the ride for him. What has it done for you in your game?
It's interesting because, like I said, our games are different, and he is a little bit on the more immature side, so it's very tough to get him to focus and settle down. And the patience that I have to take when trying to help him is really, really hard to instill in myself sometimes. I got very frustrated bowling a couple events this year. to the point where like I had words with my roommates. I had words with my tour reps. Like it takes a toll on you. And so I'm even at 22 years old bowling on the tour. I'm going through the same things that he's going through. He's just puts more pressure on himself because he sees youth bowlers all over the world, social media, his friends texting him, different bowling centers where he bowls league, all putting pressure on him to keep up with a certain level. And so he he takes things a little harder than I do. But I've really tried to stay on him about practicing. By the way, I'll give him a shout out for bowling team qualifying and state individuals with a broken finger. That was awesome.
Absolutely.
I pushed him. He didn't want to do it. I pushed him to do it, and then he said, "You know what? I'm going to do it." And he went.
Great.
He went to individuals and he threw one shot. He said, "I can't do this." He said, "I can't bowl." And I said, and my mom called me. She goes, "Does he bowl?" And I was like, "Yeah, just do it." Like, it's 5 games, 4 games, whatever it was. If it hurts you, I understand. I said, being an athlete, because bowlers are athletes at the end of the day, being an athlete, it's tough. Like, you're going to get hurt. You got to find a way to do it. And so he bowled that day, and then he went home and was like, "I'm going to keep bowling like this." He drilled he drilled bowling balls with his pointer finger in the ball.
Yep.
And he bowled team qualifying the next 2 weekends and absolutely bowled awesome. I don't know how he did it, but shout out to him because I don't know if I would have been able to do that.
Yeah,
So,
he actually rolled the ball really well that
no, they sent me videos.
I couldn't believe it. Frankie and I was standing behind him going, "Are you kidding me?" I mean, it was really...
He was acting like nothing was wrong.
Yep.
The only way you would know something was wrong was if you looked at his hand.
Yeah.
So,
yep, absolutely.
Big shout out to him. He might be tougher than I am when it comes to that because I don't know if I would have bowled. I would have thrown my first shot at individuals. And I said, "Wow, I look pretty crazy right now. I'm not going to do this to myself." So shout out to him for doing that. But I think he needs to work on. There's not a lot that he can fix. He's a great spare shooter. He hits the pocket more than anybody I know. I think he just needs to work on his ball roll a little bit. And I'm having the same issue right now. So we're going to be practicing a lot together once I move back home because I'll be back home in a few months. And we'll go from there. We'll build off each other. He'll give me a little bit of pressure during practices because he's gonna outstrike me. So, but yeah.
I gotta show it. So, Mom,
I lost you guys.
Oh
No, you're here.
No, that's me. We're here.
Oh boy.
No, we're here. Sorry, we're
I
here.
lost you for a second. Oh no.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there it is.
Sent me that picture the other day.
There it is. You know what? Mom came through and shared it. There he is. At Maple Lanes doing his thing.
When did she send you that?
Michael, it doesn't really matter.
She sent that to me like 2 days ago, so it couldn't have been that long ago that she sent that to you.
It was 5 minutes.
Yeah, I was just going to say 5 minutes.
I told you I didn't ask her. She's
watching. She's listening. So.
Yeah, as a good mom would. It's so funny you would talk about Anthony, and this isn't about Anthony, but for a moment, we really couldn't. I even said to him, "Dude, you're throwing the ball better than you were having up in a while." And you know what? I think when you comes down to it, a lot of times we put so much pressure on ourselves and we try so hard, and he beat that just yet. And his outlook was so different. Yeah, it is what it is. I'm going to come and bowl.
Right.
And I said to him, I said, "You need this. You need to act like this on a regular basis because you wouldn't put so much pressure on yourself."
Maybe his expectations were not as high if he had been bowling 100% healthy. Maybe it was just, listen, I'm just going to get through this. I'm going to throw the ball as cleanly as I can. So it kind of took his, his thought process. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's at that point where he needs to either be mentally tougher or he needs to be relaxed. Some people bowl with intensity and some people bowl really calm. You got to figure out which one fits you. For him, I know he likes to yell and scream and run shots out. He shows it on a daily. He could be bowling league and he'll run a shot out the first frame of the first game. That's how he is. But at the same time, I don't think that that's going to get him to that next level. I think being relaxed will. And I think he bowled team relaxed for the most part. It was different for him. And it has to do with expectations. And, when he sets his expectations through the roof,
yep,
like Frankie said, is the nerves kick in and it's harder to make your shot.
Yep.
So maybe that's something, if he's listening, he should think about. Bowling a little more on the calm side and trying to let the score come to him a little bit more rather than like pressing on every shot and using all of his emotion every frame. Maybe.
Yeah. Anthony, if you're listening,
Yes.
and I know he listens to you, so which is great.
Listen, if you throw a strike, act like a pitcher, not a bowler.
Yeah,
Act like a pitcher.
that's true.
I will say he listens really well to me, especially the last couple of months, because this was supposed to be a big year for him with junior gold and individuals. This was supposed to be a big year for him, so I'm sorry that it's not going to happen the way you wanted it to, but he's listened to me a lot, so he's come a long way.
And he's going to continue. He's going to continue to grow, which is good.
Yeah.
And he needs the support system. Hey, so talk a little. So now, you leave home, you go away to college, and you're bowling for college. Talk about that experience.
It was interesting at first, we'll say that. I grew up being a singles bowler. The only team competition I bowled was either states or league. So I grew up a singles bowler. I get to college, and I was a small fish in a big pond because I really wasn't all that. I was great at home, but I wasn't great on a national level when I left. So I got to college, and a nice little shout out to Danny Hayes was my coach there. He transformed my game in 4 years more than anything I could have imagined. But I got there and I was the eighth. I had just made the varsity team. I was the 8th best bowler. I wasn't that great. I think I bowled 15 games out of a possible 60 my freshman year. Didn't bowl very much. I averaged like 190. But that whole year, he kicked my teeth in and said, if you want to get good, he goes, I see you want it. He goes, but you got to prove it to me. He goes, this is what you got to do to get better. And timing, rhythm, balance, all these things that we worked on for 8 months. And I get to nationals that year, and they couldn't take me out of the lineup because I didn't miss. And one of the shots I missed the whole week. I think I only missed a couple times. I needed a hit in the 9th frame of the 6th game, like a match or two before the show to push it to 7 against Wichita, and I missed the head pin. And that moment taught me a lot and helped me going forward through college about trying to own the moment. Not thinking about your surroundings or, what the score is, whatever, just focus on your shot. My sophomore year, I got told I was a very selfish player because I knew I had gotten better. And now I'll admit that I was. Like, I worried about all tournament teams and individual stats and all that kind of stuff. And so I was averaging about 207 that year, which was pretty good. That was high on the team. But at the same time, I was taking away from the morale and the chemistry of the team by being selfish. And so we got to nationals, and the entire team just kind of fell apart. We lost 2 matches really quickly to get eliminated, and everything just kind of fell off the track that year. We come back the next year, everybody regroups. We all grew up over the summer for 5 months, and we finally put a group of 8 together that knew how to work together and unselfishly carried us to a TV finals. We ended up losing on TV. That kind of hurt a little bit, but that was the best year we had. Chemistry-wise, as a team, that was the strongest group of 8 bowlers I've ever bowled with in my life. My senior year, we all kind of bowled for individual statistics, assuming that we would make nationals again, and we ended up missing nationals as the number 1 team in the country. So it put a halt to my college career pretty quickly. But I think that taught me probably the biggest lesson was that you can't take anything for granted. We showed up that weekend assuming that just based on our talent we'd make it, and we didn't miss by much, but we missed. And we picked the wrong time to have a lazy, unfocused weekend. So college bowling was great. Anybody that enjoys team competition or enjoys shooting spares, go bowl in college. It's definitely a good experience. You learn how to work with a team really well, learn how to be unselfish, focus on other people, and when it's your time to shine, you shine. College bowling was great. I loved it.
So how much do you think that college bowling played into your progression to the pro tour? Do you think it helped? Do you think it helped a little?
I don't think I would have made any stride towards bowling the tour if I didn't bowl in college. I got myself hooked up with Danny, like I said, DJ Hayes, and he coached Marshall Kent. He coached a couple of other PBA champions in the past. He works personally with Deandra Asbeatty. He, by far, has the best naked eye for the physical game that I've ever seen. He can spot you from a mile away what you're doing wrong. He could be behind the machines fixing something because he's the GM of the bowling center. He could be up behind the machine fixing something. He'll come out and tell you, I saw your elbow was out on that one. Like, he could be a mile away and he'll spot it. He's incredible. I don't think I would have been able to reach that level if I didn't go and bowl in college, and specifically at Robert Morris, because I don't think I would have been able to tolerate other coaches if they treated me that way, because he also treated me like his own kid at the same time. So he took care of me because he knew I was on my own. He took care of me, made sure that, I stuck it out, because freshman year was tough, not bowling and learning and watching all these other kids have success, and I'm not. It was tough. So he protected me, made sure I was learning and growing, and he made me realize that that was the right place for me. And I don't think I would have made any strides towards bowling on the tour if it wasn't for him. So,
It's great.
What's your major?
counting.
I should have known.
Nice
think I-
fallback option for me if bowling is not going to work out. I'll give it a few years, and luckily I have a great support system and someone who takes care of my financially as well when I bowl. So and I have some sponsors that really help out. So if bowling in a few years is not working itself out, although I don't think that will be the case, I have to assume that I'm going to continue trending in the right direction while I'm learning. So if it ends up not working out, I can settle down, get a job. I know a lot of people in the tri-state area that can get me a solid job, and we'll go from there. But yeah, I don't want that to be the case. So
What was that moment that said, you know what, I'm going to go do it? And now, and backtrack slightly, because you've always been the one that says, I'm going to go bowl team trials, I'm going to go bowl this event, and you set yourself goals. You and I had this running joke at Junior Gold. You're going to put that medal around my neck, and
every year.
I'm going to make junior team every year. He had that goal. I want that. And so it came later. So Team USA, that's one whole experience. We'll come back to that. But what was the moment that said, you know what, I'm gonna go bowl on tour? What was that magic?
It was something that I always wanted to do. Growing up, I loved watching bowling on Sundays. I'd bowl Sunday morning adult child with my dad at 11 a.m. I'd make sure I was done with my 3 games by 1 o'clock so I could go sit in the lounge and watch the TV show every single Sunday. So, I think from a young age, it was something that I always wanted to do. I never really doubted the fact that I would give it an attempt, but with how my senior year of college bowling went, I averaged 216, I believe. I won 2 Tier 1 events. I was runner-up for Player of the Year, and I was a first-team All-American. And so with that year trending the way it did, when we missed nationals, I actually got my tour card a week later. Before the collegiate season, our season had ended, but before nationals had even taken place, I bought my tour card. I went to the Masters as a PBA member for my first event. I made match play for the first time at the Masters. I finished 14th. So I think that whole couple of months, I won a really big event a couple weeks prior to that, called the Fusion Realtors Open, for $5,000 in Iowa. So all of those things coming together kind of pushed me to say I'm going to do it. And once I knew money was in the right place and everything like that, I just went and started paying my entries. I bowled all summer, and even though I struggled, I knew it was the right decision. So.
And Team USA, you finally get to wear the jersey.
Man, I still don't believe that. It's been 3 months, and I still don't believe that happened. Making junior team, you were there for that. You kept telling me, calm down, it's fine. You're fine. that whole conversation, that whole dialogue we had for about an hour while I waited for the announcement. That week was crazy because I didn't expect to bowl as well as I did. I never made match play junior gold. I make match play. I finished 3rd. I get my spot on junior team. I really didn't. I thought that was it. I thought that was a one and done. I knew I couldn't make the junior team again. So I really didn't think I was, ever. I was always bowling well at trials, but I was never in the top 15. I was always about 20th through 25th, which is obviously too far down the list to get selected. But I went to trials this year, and I really don't know where the mindset came from, but I just stayed really patient. I didn't try and throw a lot of strikes. They put out much tougher patterns this year, so 2 teen a game was acceptable. And my lowest block of the week was 111 over. So I made Team USA this year. They actually just made the announcement this week. I'm sure you saw it, that I'm on Team USA for next year because of all of the COVID-19 stuff. So now I'll be technically a 2-time member. It's still surreal. I can't comprehend how or why it happened, but I'm definitely not complaining. I'm not going to give it back. So
Yeah, we were standing when you made Junior Team USA. We were standing on the concourse. Was that Detroit? Where were we? Cleveland. Yes, standing on the concourse by the front counter, and there were some issues happening, and conversations, and everybody's trying to understand what's happening. And I just looked at him and I was like, "Dude, you need to." Old Michael showed up at that moment. He was frantic. He was excited.
I was pacing around the bowling center.
You wanted it so hard, and at one moment, the best got to you because you got upset because you thought it didn't happen. And then I said, again, I looked at you and I said, Michael, just relax. I ran away. I came back. But then to see that smile, it was awesome. And then now here you are, setting goals is so important.
Yeah, absolutely. Attainable goals.
That's exactly where I was going to go with that. Attainable goals. That's the most important thing. If they're not attainable, you're putting yourself too far out of reach.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
The only attainable goal you were so close, I know, was the winning junior gold.
The show, making the show.
And I mean, it was awesome because I'm gonna make the show. I'm gonna make the show, and so close. And then, of course, your brother beats you to it, which is awesome. Oh,
listen,
that's an awesome moment.
that was a great moment for him. And if you noticed, the night before, I was upset. Before I got to go watch his show, I was upset. I was like, wow, I didn't bowl well this week, whatever it was. And the first person in the bowling center sitting behind him the next morning was me. And I was yelling as loud as I could because I needed him to not focus about the show and just do his thing. And he bowled awesome. He really had a shot to win that. Yeah. I wasn't upset that he lost. I was upset at how he lost, but he bowled awesome. And can't take that away from him. Yeah. But yeah, that Cleveland experience was interesting because going into the week, I knew that I needed to make the show to lock up being on the junior team. And at one point during the first cashers round, I believe I had jumped to second. And so I was, with like 2 games to go, I knew I was in the spot for the automatic team. And I bowled 155 my last game to go from second to sixth to miss the automatic team. And I was like, all right, now I just got to make the show. Like, that's it. I got to make the show. And the first match I bowled against Cortez, and he chopped a spare for me to win. And I looked at Frankie. I said, all right, we got this. That's my break. I'm in. And he's just laughing, talking to my parents, whatever. And I ran it all the way to the end of the winner's bracket. Wesley Lowe beat me twice. And I felt like my world ended because I did not think I was going to make it. Mathematically, I was the 7th guy and 6 make it. So I didn't think I was going to make it. And he's literally yelling at me, just calm down. You're fine. Calm down. Yeah, that was a cool moment. So,
and once again, a great experience that you pass on to your brother.
Yeah.
And you learn. So now here we are bowling on the PBA tour, and you have all that experience that you can use for to move forward, right? Which is awesome. And now you just had some awesome success out on the tour. You had an awesome week. Talk a little bit about what was going on in Michael's head.
Are you referring to the World Series?
The World Series, yeah.
Okay, so
right before all this happened, right before.
Yeah, so I'll go back 2 weeks prior to that just for a second. I finished 20th at the U.S. Open. That was the first cut I made this year. That was the first match play appearance I had. So I felt pretty confident going into Indy in the World Series, and then I caught another check in Indy, and I felt good. I felt like, especially because it's Las Vegas and the lefties really tend to bowl well there, I felt like I was set up for a really good week. We bowled the Cheetah Championship, and I actually started with the wrong game plan. I stayed with it too long. I was in like second or third to last after the first 5 games. And I sat down with a couple of different people that I hadn't really talked to that week. I tried to come up with a more intelligent game plan to keep myself out of trouble. Even if I didn't bowl well, I just wanted to know that I tried other things. I ended up bowling 340 over for the next 5 games with
Nice.
865 the last 3. I don't really know where I pulled that one from.
I was able to.
The first game I only bowled 2 teen, and I was like, all right, like if I bowl 2 teen every game, I'll probably move up 20 or 30 spots. Like it's tolerable, puts me in a fighting position for the world championship. It's fine. The next game I started with the first 7, I bowled 250. It's like, wow, it's more than 2 teen, okay. And then I bowled 300, and I threw the last one really good. And then before I knew it, I had the front 9 the next game again, and it was kind of just like I was going through the motions. And I got really nervous in the 10th frame because I looked up and I had 21 in a row, and I panicked. I caught 2 breaks to bowl 300 again, and I was like, "Wow, don't count me out of the cut yet." Like I went from 117th to 25th with a game to go.
Wow.
And the last game I bowled 265, and went from 25th to 20th. I only missed a cut by about 10 pins, which was crazy, which I can't be upset about. Like that was an insane comeback. The rest of the week was a big struggle. I didn't see the lanes the right way. I wasn't throwing it all that great either. My hand was really far around it, which obviously is my miss for the most part. Something I really was looking forward to working on while I was home for the 2 months without bowling. But now I'm stuck in an apartment, and I haven't put my hand on a ball since. So at least I know what I need to fix, But yeah, World Series, I learned a lot about lane play and bowling on the fresh twice, and bowling with Jason Belmonte was interesting. He's a great guy. He was really cool. When I was bowling well, he was awesome. When I was struggling, he was actually trying to help me see the lane better. And so anybody that thinks he's intimidating because he's a great bowler, think otherwise. He's awesome. He's a great guy. But yeah, I learned a lot that week, as I've been doing all year. So hopefully, if the summer tour kicks up, I don't know if it'll start on time, but I'm hoping it starts eventually. When it does, I'm looking forward to putting all the pieces together.
So you want to ask about Junior Gold?
Yeah.
So what do you what words of wisdom might you have for even your brother who is disappointed about the Junior Gold situation this year?
Word of wisdom, I would say take the time that you're getting off to really build on what your weaknesses are and make your weaknesses your strengths. Whether it's seeing the lane better, which I'm still getting better at, or working on something physical. I know it's hard to practice the physical stuff right now, but if there's videos you can watch YouTube videos, go watch old PBA shows. That's what I've been doing. Go watch some flow bowling clips, even some old videos of yourself. Just find out, what is stopping you from reaching that next level, and make sure that the minute you can step back on the lanes, you have an attack plan to fix whatever your issues are. From the mental aspect, I would say don't get discouraged that there's no Junior Gold. I know there are kids that are aging out, and I apologize to those that are going through that. I also know college athletes that with collegiate nationals getting canceled, are not able to bowl their last nationals event that I was actually supposed to coach because I was coaching a college team this year. I know it stinks, and I know that you feel like you're missing out on something, but there is always a reason behind everything that happens. So this is setting you up for some kind of bigger agenda going forward, and take the loss while you can now, because there's going to be a lot of success coming after that. So the guys that couldn't bowl Junior Gold, Teen Masters is still on the schedule. It got rescheduled for August. Go and crush that. Use your time to prepare for that. Go and crush that event, or go and crush the next SYC that comes up. Find something that you can take as a positive from having all this time off.
Great. That's great advice. Thank you.
While parents are saving money, we're spending your money by going to bowl something else. But it's true. That's great advice, and there will be plenty of opportunities. And 2021, before we know it, we'll be qualifying and getting ready for the next one. So yeah, we're gonna. That's another one we need to clip and send to all of our kids.
Yeah.
Hey, Michael, thank you so much for popping in and joining us today.
Anytime.
The line is always open.
Yeah,
absolutely. I would love to come back and do it again. If you guys ever are interested, I'm always interested. So if you need someone, I am always here.
I like
Awesome.
it. And you know what? You know what? When we'll bring him in as a co-host, we'll make him be part of the team.
I love that.
You're in.
I would absolutely love to do that, honestly.
Cool.
Okay.
You're in. We got you.
Right.
Keep the phone on.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. Thank you, Michael. We'll
Thank
see you
you,
soon.
Michael.
Right. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
He really has become. He's grown up, and I think it's awesome.
Yeah. It's good. You like to see that. And his mom Nicole is. She does the right things, and she's raised 2 boys who are amazing. And like you said, they're growing and they're learning. And Michael had to go through it, and Anthony's going through it. But if you're teaching them the right things the right way, eventually they grow up.
Look at that.
Can't
believe it. Hey, so we also our next guest today is our IT specialist, and Pat's been very helpful, not only for his other clients, but he's been helpful for us too, getting up and running. Pat Buono, Aurora Computer. Hi, Pat.
Hi there, guys.
How are you?
Good, and yourself?
We are hanging. Every day's a new challenge.
He's one of the few that's seen the inner sanctum here.
Yes. We don't let anybody in, but we did let Pat in this week. And thank you. First, I have to say he did get the shout out when we were starting this. The same day, episode 1, I said, we're on at the other end of the bowling center. I'm a little concerned about the Wi-Fi. And he goes, no, don't be concerned. There are no issues. We came in, he reboot, set us all up, and we appreciate that. And then the other day, in our regular maintenance here, we're rebooting the computers and lanes, and went to go reboot the computers, and we got the black screen of death. Yes. And usually we panic because we're up and running and we can't. So fortunately, you make the call, he gets on the phone with Brunswick, and here we are. We're up and running again. So thank you, Pat.
Actually, Frank, I'm still waiting for the call back from Brunswick.
Oh, okay. Well, we're up and running.
You're up. I fixed it.
Yeah, you fixed it. But we obviously our backup. We've got a couple of things, but we'll get there. Right now. That's the least of our issues.
Correct.
So one, we know you're holding up all right. You haven't killed Lori yet.
No. We've been working like normal. So
that's great. And as essential workers, it's a good thing. Poor Carolyn is home. I think she's the one that's going stir crazy.
Yeah, she's taken being not essential not well.
She's taking it personally.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, talk to us a little about what you're seeing. So in this time, we've got businesses that are open and closed. You've got a lot of different clients. And so, hey, what kind of calls are you getting? What are you seeing with those that are open? You could see either or, open or closed. What kind of issues are you dealing with that you think that are certainly important for people to be aware of, and maybe if it's something that they might not even realize they have at the same time?
The main thing is that probably it started the first week in March. People started panicking. They started hearing, possibly of a lockdown and such like that. Some of them were early on in saying, people stay at home because somebody was in contact with somebody that had corona, got confirmed case. So everybody was rushing to do remote access from home. We onboarded over 300 people in March and the first week in April for people to remote in. The biggest challenge sometimes has been people at home, their internet is not up to par, and they try to use their Wi-Fi, and they're using different technologies to boost their Wi-Fi, and some of it just doesn't hold up. It's consumer products that they're using in their homes, and it really just doesn't work with a persistent connection. The challenge is that to try to make people understand that I get this thing, well, my daughter's on with her iPad, no problem.
Right.
My son's on the internet all the time, no problem. The issue is that those are just static things that they're pulling down. With a remote session, it's a persistent, constant connection to your computer in the office. So with that type of persistent connection, you need good Wi-Fi, you need good, internet access. So that seems to be, we've had to boost, we've been asked by clients to go to employees' homes to improve the Wi-Fi situation or the network situation so they're able to log in.
So what does that generally entail? Is that maybe changing a router or?
Sometimes it's changing a router. Sometimes it's asking them to hardwire in as opposed to do wireless, because wireless, there's a lot of variables to making the wireless really work well. And we've had this problem several years ago at RABS where, early on we put in Wi-Fi that was available, and there's a frequency of 2.4 that we put in, and then over the years, more and more people in the area started getting 2.4, the neighbors and such like that, and that 2.4 is very limited as to the how many channels you can have, how many people. And what was happening at RABS especially, they couldn't, the Wi-Fi started to be totally useless. So we had to upgrade to the 5G frequency, and that helped. And that also is the problem that we've had with people at home. They're using older laptops, they're using older routers that don't support the higher frequency of the new technology, and that's where the problems lie. But we've had to, ask people to hardwire in to improve their situation.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the service and where you're at too, especially in multi-dwellings. So as far a business that's not open right now, and I think sometimes we take for granted, it would be very easy for us not to come here at all, right? Not to come here and just, let it be. And you can't do that. It doesn't work that way. Even if we weren't doing this, we'd be coming in doing some things. What piece of advice for a closed business would you give to make sure that when we got to turn lights on, we're ready to rock and roll? Because again, I think people take it for granted. All right, we'll just shut everything down. But it's easier said than done.
Yeah, you actually should have been keeping all that stuff up and running anyway, because a lot of times you do more damage by shutting the thing off, cooling a system and then bringing it back, heating it back up. That can cause issues. So, if they know that they're going to start, May 16th and go back in, you should really go in a week before and turn everything on, test everything, make sure that those things are working. Because I think it was last Friday, there was a lot of power outages. We got a lot of calls on Monday that there was issues. Power outages, even little brownouts or something like that can play havoc with networking equipment. So it would be prudent to make sure everything's working before time. And for most of our clients, we monitor their system, so we know, especially their service. We know when they're up, when they're down. We notify clients to go and turn their servers back on if there was a power issue, at work.
That was the first question you asked me. Hey, did you lose power the other night? And I didn't. But based on our systems, we could tell when we lose power.
Right.
It's a little different because we're not here. But I don't believe that was the issue, because we were able to get up and running. But again, it could have blipped, not know, come back on, and then start, just be sitting waiting for us to go and run. So that's great advice. So if anybody listening, keep your machines running, but make sure you're ready to roll. I would imagine you and your team will be ready to go out right before the opening, whatever phase somebody's going to be opening in, you'll be ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, absolutely. We're ready. The other problem is that, it's not so much people in their homes, or sometimes it's really the internet. The internet actually, Microsoft started cutting back on their services. They were scaling back on, synchronizations and stuff. Google, YouTube, they all started having problems because of over demand for services. So I can imagine that when this is all said and done, there's going to be congressional hearings as to, why, the internet, didn't hold up, and, they're going to have to build up, bigger, infrastructure, to handle something like this again.
That's interesting. I think we're laughing and talking about the use of so on the platform that we're using, we've had some technical difficulties because lots of people are using these platforms to do what we're doing. So initially we had a couple of issues, but it's since last week, it looks like they've either upgraded their servers, they've made preparations. I no longer have the warning bar,
right,
that it might
on
slow
Tuesdays
down.
and Thursdays.
I mean, I don't want to jinx it, but it's been okay, which is great. I think people are doing this from home, right? So more Zoom calls, working from home. What are you experiencing? And people don't have, you can't just go on Amazon and place an order right now. You can, but you don't have access to everything. I think that's also the other challenge. So how are you helping those clients that are, hey, Pat, I need a machine, I need a webcam. Are you seeing a lot of that?
Yes, we had a hard time keeping laptops in stock all through March. I can't tell you how many laptops I provided for clients, but the shipping has been delayed. Prices are going up. I don't know if it's the company somewhat gouging prices, at this point, or just low supply. So it's the old, supply and demand issue. But we try to keep pretty well stocked. I mean, right now I probably have about 20 computers in stock. Laptops, I'm waiting for a couple of laptops to walk through the door now. But it's hard. The other demand was when first, this all happened, was webcams. You can't get webcams. It's ridiculous. I kind of thought outside the box and found some old webcams that we're able to use. They're not the greatest quality, but they actually, do the job. So I do have, probably 24 in stock, and they're available. So, but the laptops and webcams seem to have been the most problems.
Anybody with a new machine, it's built in, but at the same time, not everybody's got a new machine. So that certainly makes sense. The price gouging, I bet you, is going to be another legal issue at some point after all this is done. So it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. So the internet, there are three big things: the internet, insurance companies, and price gouging. I bet are going to be the largest filings of lawsuits after all this is done.
Yeah,
or being filed. Your business clients now working from home, and in small business, many of us aren't really prepared to just work from home. You might have a laptop or a desktop at home, and that's great. So there are services. Log Me In. What's the most common thing that you're seeing from a small business owner that realize I'm not prepared to really be working from home?
Yeah, we have a large clientele of CPAs. They were the most prepared for this type of situation, because over the years we've helped them prepare for tax season and the snowstorms that can occur, and people having to work from home to meet the tax deadlines. So I would tell people, check with their, see how their CPAs are prepared for it. But our CPAs, we very little interruption because they were already set for it. They knew the issues over the years that they needed to get their tax returns done. So they were the most prepared. But, we found, Log Me In, and now Log Me In bought a whole bunch of other, remote software companies. They increased their price tremendously, and to get on with one computer, one of them, it's like $400. So for a small business that had 5 and 6 people that needed to remote in, you're talking a couple of grand at a point that these people are looking at reduced revenues because of a lockdown. So how do you we tried to do the right thing by clients. So we found a service that was much cheaper, for them, and we set up an account, and we started setting everybody up. We have over 200 people just on that, and then the other ones we set up with VPNs that were already prepared for it. And the VPN is a better experience, but it takes a little setup time to do that.
We use both. We use both at times. But again, it's not the easiest thing. Do you think that the increase in pricing has to do with the fact that maybe they just can't handle too many more users on the platform?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just that they started out with all these remote software companies started giving it away, and it was like the bait and switch. They started giving it to you for free, and then little by little they started charging for it, and now it's like ludicrous price that they're expecting people to pay for remote access into their system. That's why a VPN is it's usually a one-time charge and unlimited usage. So
yeah, and the other thing for people at home, and now that people are home more often, I think the scam calls and emails, phishing for your regular residential clients or friends. Are you hearing a lot more of that?
Yes, there's a lot going on, and I read the internet, things on the internet. It seems to be somewhat of a conflict with these hackers. Some are saying, it's not really right to take advantage of, COVID and entice people and trick people into giving up their passwords or ransomware.
Right. But it's okay any other time, just not now.
Yeah, I guess, and some just take it like, well, this is an opportunity, so let's take advantage of it. So I don't know. I guess there's some sort of scruples amongst some of them. I'm not sure, but there's an increase of spam, phishing emails that people have to worry about. What we've done in this time, we've gone through and reviewed the security on people's networks, remotely, of course, and beefed up security on their networks because of this. Because when they come back, or them remoting in, can get themselves infected. So, the other thing is communication between people that have to work, that they say nobody works in the office, everybody has to work at home, is how do they communicate? And this is where voice over IP phone systems, are a benefit. And I think people are going to realize that to work at home, they also need to communicate with their employees. So, I have one tech that is working from home. We have him on a constant stream all day, and it's as if he's here. We can just turn around and talk to him. He has a voice over IP phone at home, so he's taking calls, support calls at home. So the technology is here to help people work remotely, from home. It's a good time. If this was 20 years ago, we'd be in really bad shape as far as businesses not being able to work. But we have all service businesses, insurance, legal, plumbers, electricians, all taking service calls, from distributed, locations because, they don't want to have too many people in the office. So it works out.
You just want to check in on him to make sure he's working. That's why he's on the video, right?
That people have that concern. I really don't want people working, employees working from home. I don't know how productive they're going to be. And that is a concern. But the other thing is that you want to kind of work as normal as possible, because if you're in an office situation, you can walk by their desks and, ask them a question. For you to get on a phone call and try to call them, they might be, there, they may not pick up. Are you calling them on their cell? Some employees might get offended you calling them on their cell for a business call. So, if you can set it up with, like a constant video chat, throughout the day, it works. It works fine. It's as if they're here.
Yeah, and so in the beginning of all this, we keep talking about social norms and how they're going to change, and,
Yeah.
and every day you're going to learn something new. Even throughout the government's phase plan, these are things you're going to be aware of. But in this space, I think in IT especially, big corporations and organizations around the world have struggled with letting people work from home, and now it's almost the new. Before this, it was becoming the new norm,
Yep.
and organizations really struggling with allowing people to work from home because you now lose the culture within. So here we have this pandemic, and it's only going to push the
More
ability for
places.
people to work
Yep.
from home, and you could argue both sides. It's good. It could be productive. I could argue, yeah, culture is important for the office, but these tools are great, and how you embrace it can make
Right.
that
I
work.
think it'll change somewhat the way some businesses conduct meetings, or I do believe it. It's going to change it somehow.
And so how do we prep even just a small businesses to be able to do more of this? If it could be the world that we move to. You still want to get dressed every day. You still, we laugh about that. People on cam, and then, hey, stand up. Are you wearing pants? What are you wearing today? You might have your half suit on, or your Italian suit pants on, and a button down. It is interesting. And so, Pat, I want to twofold. Best piece of advice you could give a small business owner in adapting to this new world that we're going to be living in.
Yeah, a couple of things. One, like I had mentioned, an IP phone system is really a good investment. They could be, they're not very costly to get into. Believe me, if I told you how much it cost me to put an IP phone system in, you wouldn't believe me. But it's really cheap to get into it, especially for a small business. Maybe 8-10 people, not a problem. The other thing is, for their business, make sure you have an enterprise router that will support VPN.
Yeah.
And that'll keep your costs down in case or to have a remote workforce, because like I said, VPN, it's a one-time cost, and you won't have to pay the ongoing monthly or weekly or yearly fees that some of these places are charging, like Log Me In or Go to My PC, which are really the same company now.
Yeah, I can't believe before all this, when this was going down, we were looking at our credit cards and realizing the subscriptions that we have, everything is subscription based. And it's
Right.
amazing how much they
Right.
cost us to operate. And you go, okay, what can I temporarily shut down? What can I? And so these
Right.
are things that you're looking at, especially your Log Me In and those things, because we use them. The IP phone, in some cases, you could actually get them systems for free. I know Verizon has a business program that if you're on their system, you could get X phones free. Like to your point, it could be very inexpensive for a business to enter that piece. And of course, there are challenges, but you got to work through them.
Yeah, there's not, it's not without its issues, because compared to old Ma Bell, it's still in its infancy. But they work, they pretty much work really, really well. So I highly recommend it. An IP phone system. There's also, sometimes you don't even. I have a client that law firm needed to have his people work from home, but he still needed to communicate, and so we set up a real quick IP phone system for him. He didn't have to buy phones or anything, because there's apps on the phone that you work with the voice over IP. And he has his people working at home. They have extensions that really relate to the app on their phone. And we got him up and going within a day, and he was communicating with his people at home. So, really works well.
Yeah, that's great, especially in the last several years, they've introduced legislation where if you you shouldn't be communicating with employees using their personal devices after work time or not. There are, and that's only going to continue to grow. So that's a great point.
Yeah, with those things you can configure them. Like for my guys, I don't want them to be bothered after hours or before the hours. So with those type of situations, you set up schedules so their phone goes on do not disturb at a certain point at the end of the day, and it doesn't come on until they come into the office. So yeah, I try to be mindful of that, and I think everybody should.
And Naz, for any of our team members that are watching, that doesn't apply to you. Hey, and then so great that on a personal note, in a house, the average user, what's the best piece of advice that you could provide for somebody in their household during these times, or even just in general about making sure they have what they need or they're on top of their equipment?
Yeah, so if they want to be able to work from home, they really should look into getting a business class Wi-Fi in their home. I've had, because of everybody trying to work from home, as I mentioned, there's Wi-Fi issues at home. The people say, oh, I have an extender, or I put an extender in because I wasn't getting it. And the extenders, I have great signal to the extender, but, putting in extenders and putting in Wi-Fi routers and such, it's sort of like buying real estate. The key is location, location, location. So, they can't have the router out in the garage with the Wi-Fi and them being on the other end of the house, or, 2 flights up and expecting to get great coverage. So, the thing is prepare, have good Wi-Fi. I mean, my kids will tell you the Wi-Fi in my house, I got so much Wi-Fi, it's ridiculous.
Hey, and then the best piece of advice you could give when somebody gets that phone call and that says, hi, this is Microsoft and your subscription is up.
Yeah. Well, if you want to have fun with them, then lead them on. If not, just hang up on them. Yeah.
Don't say yes or no, because they record that and they can use that against you, right?
That's true. Yeah, just hang up.
I depends on my mood. If I got that call, was it Tuesday? I probably would have been having fun with them. I love watching those videos.
Yeah.
Hey,
Some of the other things that businesses could do is e-faxing, because still some businesses, use faxing. So electronic faxing over the internet is a good way of getting, keeping in communication with clients that need to fax documents to you. It's still being done. So, and a lot of it is better HIPAA compliance than trying to email certain documents. And to that fact, with people now, businesses trying to get the SBA loans, their accountants or their bank is requiring a lot of payroll records. So they should be mindful of sending information, payroll information that has social security numbers and, addresses of employees out in plain email. It really needs to be encrypted. They should ask their bank or whoever, how do I send this to you encrypted?
Yeah, I didn't know. I remember the days of using efax.com, and I wonder if they're being put back in business as a result of this.
Yeah, eFax and Ring Central, both the ones. Sometimes you can set up your voice over IP systems to do faxing for you. So that's a good way of doing it.
That's good to know. Yeah, I don't. It's funny. I have a scanner at home. I barely use it in this time. A lot of things are electronic. You could do electronic signatures, but some things you want to print and sign. And so the cool thing is our devices now have some great scanning opportunities. So if you're not scanning, you could certainly do that.
Everybody that has a cell phone really has a scanner, because they scan apps that will scan those documents. They're not the best like a fax, but they'll scan that document, they take a picture, and they'll create that PDF for you, and you can send it off to them.
And we're not talking about taking a photo of your document and sending
That's
it.
not the
Actually
same.
using, and I think if you have an iPhone, in Notes, if you go into Notes, you can do a scan, and it makes it a PDF. So don't send me a picture. Don't do your picture. That's not what we. You could actually use the scan. I think it's great. It makes it a lot easier. Oh, hey, Pat. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pat.
You really are a welcome.
You?
We appreciate you dropping in. I dropped so your website into the comments. If you have any questions or need some assistance, Pat and his family of lifelong bowlers.
Yeah.
And I know you're not the big bowler in the family, but I think you're missing it too.
Oh, I was telling my son that if it wasn't for going out to lunch on the weekends and bowling, I've been social distancing forever. So my only social interactions has been at RAB. So I can't wait for you guys to open up again. So
it's so true for anybody that's in the IT business, right?
So keep safe. Wear your spring COVID fashion outfit and have it ready.
We like it. Somebody did send me a text the other day asking if we could make some Rabs masks. I said,
hey, that would be good.
So, or even some Aurora masks. And
yeah.
Hey, thank you so much, Pat. We really appreciate you taking the time today. Hopefully I don't need your services anytime soon, but you never know. I know where to find you.
Okay, it won't take it personal.
All right, you're the best. Thanks, Pat. We'll see you soon.
All right, bye.
If whether you own a business or you don't, you really could take all that information and make it relative to what you do at home, especially during these times. So that's great. Thank you very much, Pat, for sharing, for being, be willing to share. I think we were talking with Linda Barron, and even with Jacqueline Tacarante, we were talking about sharing information. And in our business community, especially through the chamber, which Pat's a member and he's involved, you make these relationships. Yeah. And somebody wants to call and ask me my opinion on something. I have no problem sharing. Right. I think that's the power to the business community. And so not many people would do what Pat just did here. And there are other guys out there doing it too. And he does seminars. He's out there, and it's not only promoting his business, but he's sharing the information that he has. And so we really do appreciate that, Pat. Anybody can take a lot out of that. So if you didn't have enough information about what you could do from home.
Yeah, I think you got it now.
And, Michael answered, there was a question in the comments about Junior Gold. Perfect. And Michael, thanks for your candid response here. We agree as well. We're all trying to make the best decisions that we can with the information we have.
Absolutely.
And it's not just us. In this case, it was USBC and the youth team at the campus. BPAA is in the same boat. We're playing it by ear too, using the information that we have from our governor's office. And every state's going to be different. So, hang in there. We're going to get through it together for sure. But hey, we spent a lot of time on here today, and people are still watching us, Naz, which is great.
Hard to imagine.
Yeah, it is hard to imagine. But we do. So yesterday, before all this stuff happened, we were getting ready to show you the pet of the day. And so I want to share. I don't think it actually came through yesterday, but the pet of the day is kind of the follow up from the day before. The Rourke family. We were talking about their zoo. And Stephanie just left. She worked for a little bit today. This is Raisin and Bandit, who Raisin came first. And when they were getting the second dog, I actually call him Oatmeal because I think it goes better with Raisin than Bandit or Oatmeal Cookie. But this is Raisin and Bandit playing. It's the pets of the day. How cute are they? We probably, we should probably offer Kevin. Kevin, you probably could stream this and monetize this.
Yeah.
There are no sports right now, but maybe this is your way in. We could set up a match. I think that's cool.
Oh.
How cute are they?
Raisin ones.
Raisin went. So Raisin's the big one, black and white,
Yeah.
and Bandit's the little guy.
Raisin won that round.
Raisin won that round. And you know, we laughed about the day of the week, and Naz, our meme of the day goes relative to the time. I think Michael Pirro shared this one with us.
I'm not counting this year towards my age.
I think that's great.
That's funny. That's funny.
Now, and I feel bad for anybody that's had a birthday during all this. You know, you've celebrated differently. I love watching the drive-bys.
Yeah, it's definitely been a different way to celebrate.
Yeah. So we've had plenty of birthday parties that were canceled, and I know people are going to reschedule, and you're just celebrating at a different time. But you really could just say, "Hey, we're not counting this year."
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
Tapping out. Tapping out this year.
And Kevin said, "Yeah, the bookies will take the action. I'm sure they're hurting. So yeah, I'm sure we could find someone to take some action on the dogs. Maybe get the macaw in there or figure something out. But you might be onto something."
As far as doing a pro shop exhibit, we are doing some work in the shop right now. We're taking this opportunity to do some cleaning and rearranging. But as soon as we're back up and everything is back in its spot, then we are definitely going to do that. But thank you. I'm assuming that's Brian for reaching.
Yeah, it's a great
more than
idea.
once. Yeah.
So that's something we are looking into it. We're a little behind the scenes there. We got plenty of time here. We've got guys, you heard the breaking news yesterday. We were extended for another season here.
Yeah.
Although it'll still be season 1, but we're extended through May 15th.
Right. They've added more episodes.
They added more
approved this
episodes,
for more
yeah.
episodes.
You know, when my brother was on off Broadway, he was excited to get extended because that meant contracts. There's no contract here. There's no
contract.
monetization. So you're stuck with us for another almost 30 days. And we still want to see you bowling from home. So don't forget, share those with us. There have been some great videos. You know, we failed. We were going to mention it yesterday, and then we got all sidetracked. So we're taking a little bit more of your time today because you lost out yesterday. But the Staten Island community, the Staten Island sports community, and even the Staten Island bowling community lost
somebody this.
Yeah, no, lost a great figure, B. Victor. And, she was really a fantastic lady. The Senior Olympics was her dream. It's named for her. We've always been thinking about her. She lived a long life. She really did.
Yep. B. Victor passed this past week, and she was obviously, as Frankie said, instrumental in starting the Senior Olympics on Staten Island, and so many of the other things that go along with it, the involvement of volunteers and the whole process of how that's run. She was definitely a champion for seniors on Staten Island, and she's going to be missed. You know, she was 96, I believe, and she was cooking right up to the end. She was going, and it's sad. It's a sad loss, and she's definitely going to be missed.
Yeah, and the Senior Olympics will continue in her honor, memory now, and it's a great event. And I know our seniors certainly look forward to that bowling event every September, and as do we. It is one of my favorite events of the year because
we love it.
We really do. B, you will be missed. A couple of our viewers celebrated an anniversary this week. Michelle and Joe D'Esposito. So happy anniversary!
Oh, happy anniversary
to you guys!
Happy anniversary.
John Wild is a little reminder. I saw some video. I saw a photo. They were having dinner together. It was nice, but celebrating their anniversary during this time when we would normally get to see them in the bar having a beer and
having it
celebrate
right.
Together.
Exactly.
One day at a time. That's it. Fernan has a question. We've been answering this as we go along, and so apologize for repeating, but hey, we got different people here. Fernan, we have not yet canceled the league bowling season. We are working on options with our league officers, so stay tuned. We still are in the land of the unknown. We want to get back up and running as soon as we can.
As possible.
We know that there are going to be limitations, so we're trying to assess that as we go. But we're presenting the options to each of the leagues to take it. But we're just not at that point. We have a little bit more time before we can definitively make any decision whether we cancel, we continue bowling, bowl for a short period of time. Lots of options, and we want to make sure that everybody's staying safe and healthy first off, and then we'll take it one bite at a time.
Yep.
You guys are cooped up at home, so it's the things that you're thinking about, and I know it's not easy, but we're doing our best, and we'll be in touch as we go along.
Yeah.
So it's Friday, the end of the week.
It's the end of the week. Although it doesn't, does it really feel like the end of the week? Every day is the same. It's not, you used to look forward to Friday because Friday meant it was the weekend, means it was Saturday and Sunday, and a lot of people were off on the weekend, but now you're off every day. So, other than for us.
Yeah, I was going to say, Naz, for
Saturday
you and I, this
means Saturday's exciting for us.
It is.
Because it's Hall of Fame PBA weekend.
It is.
Saturday.
And even outside of me, I want to go back a second.
Okay, backing up.
Most people, yes, look forward to the weekend, but we work 7 days a week.
Correct.
So the days already do meld into each other. And I think, and anybody that, I think people lose sight of that. People in small business, those people, us of us in small business, many have Monday to Friday jobs, but most don't. It's a 7 day a week thing. Don't get me wrong. We're very fortunate. We do take our time and do what we can, but it is a 7 day a week gig for us. So when Friday comes, I first look forward to seeing the kids on the lanes because that's the sign of the weekend. And of course, a busy time. Right. But yes, they do meld. But as far as what we're doing here, tomorrow's special.
Tomorrow is special. We will have the Bone family joining us, Parker and Leslie, and maybe the kids will be joining us tomorrow. And so if you got any questions for Parker or Leslie, send them in to us. Let us know. And don't forget to tune in tomorrow, 2:00. We'll be here.
2:00, regular time. We are not deviating at this point, regular time. Uncle Brian, you're asking this again about the junior team. On the page, we have a separate page for the junior gold team. We are in uncharted waters. We're doing the best that we can. As soon as we can get the kids back on the lanes, we're going to ramp up practices and get those kids ready, even though they're not bowling in junior gold in 2020. There's a 2021 event to look forward to. One day at a time. We're going to answer the same. I love you all, but we're doing our best here. And so one thing at a time. The more information we have, we'll certainly share it. Correct. But on the page, I did respond to that to the best of our ability at this time. But we'll get rocking and rolling as soon as we can. And the junior gold team, it's an awesome program that we've built from something small to what it is today. And this is to build aspirational value and provide this group of kids the next level of instruction and working together as a team while they're going to do while they're doing competing individually.
And although it's called, because of the name, it's not necessarily just focused on the junior gold tournament. We want all of these bowlers that are involved in this team to work on their games, to raise their level, no matter what their competition might be. Local tournaments, state tournaments, whatever it is. Sure. It's that's our.
So our priority is get them back on the lanes and work with them and get them ready.
Yes.
Because as soon as we've been talking, you heard it here. Norm mentioned it first. We were talking to him. Michael mentioned it today. Our hands are smaller. We're not going to be fitting into our equipment. So there's going to be a lot of changes that we're going to have to work with leading in when we get ready. So please be patient with us. We're doing what we can. That's why we're here. This is day 27 of us bringing live entertainment, whatever you want to call this, the inner sanctum of the office to you on Facebook and YouTube. So keep watching. As soon as we know more, we'll be sharing it. It'll be here first. Breaking news happens here.
Here's where it happens. We
broke a lot of news.
We did.
I think the community has to know, and they don't always realize.
That's why they tune in every day.
It happens here first. Beth Stanley, thank you for saying that. Beth said we're the best. miss you, and I know sadly we won't see each other in July, but I know we'll connect. We're following you, and Beth goes live every so often, makes you laugh.
She's a funny lady.
She's a funny lady.
She is very funny lady.
Giving some great tips to our entertainment centers during this time. So thanks, Beth, for watching. So tomorrow, Pro Bowler Saturday, our show on Sunday, and then a whole new week of live from Rats.
Can't wait. I just honestly can't wait.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
this has been fun. So thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Like and share these videos. If you're on our YouTube page, subscribe. Thank you to Michael and Patrick. Thank you very much.
Thank you for popping in.
For today, we talked tech and bowling and whatever else came in between.
Yeah.
We spent a little bit more time with you today, and you're still watching, and we appreciate that. So we will see you tomorrow, 2:00 here, live on Facebook.
Right here.
With the Bowen family, the first family of bowling we can call
First family of bowling.
And hey, Naz.
That was awesome.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.